Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Can you, Prabhus, hear me all right? Okay. So this third canto, we just started the third canto, it's text 11. Wonderful pastimes. Ridora is instructing his elder brother, King Dhritarashtra, who was born blind. He was born blind because his mother, when Sri Vyasadeva, his father, had approached his mother, she had, Vyasadeva was not very presentable in material vision. So she had covered her eyes. And on account of this, King Dhritarashtra was born blind, one of the reasons. And as we read earlier in this chapter, although he was materially blind, he was also spiritually blind, which is even worse. Materially blind is one thing. You can still progress. There's no impediments to your progress if one is spiritually blind. Of course, it's a horrible thing to be blind. Materially, you can't see the forms of the Lord. You can't, you're in darkness. But spiritually blind is even worse, because after this life, which is very flickering, it comes and goes very, very fast. Then your next life is much worse than being materially blind. If you're spiritually blind, you can be degraded again to the lower forms of life. We know there's 8,400,000 different species. 400,000 of these are the human form of life. So once you get in the human form of life, what to speak, King Dhritarashtra was the king, the emperor of the world, wasn't he? And to be in such a disqualified, Lord Krishna himself is on the planet, and the Pandavas, his dearmost associates, Queen Kunti, they're all on the planet at the same time as King Dhritarashtra. So unfortunate, King Dhritarashtra was. So offensive. And here he's getting good counsel from his dear brother, who cares for him deeply. He's his brother by birth. Of course, there's 3 brothers. There's King Pandu, the eldest, and Dhritarashtra, and then Ridora. We know Ridora from history that he was actually Lord Yamaraj that come to take part in Lord Krishna's pastimes. But he wasn't born of the queen, he was born of the maidservant of the queen. Therefore, he had no say to the kingdom. But still, he was very much respected. And great Vaishnava, pure devotee, coming to participate in the Lord's pastimes. And here he's giving counsel. And he's speaking very straight, very direct. Here he's saying in text 11, you must now return Yudhisthira and the Pandavas their rightful share of the kingdom. Yudhisthira, he's trying to impress upon him, he's faultless. He's a great devotee of Lord Krishna. He has no enemies. Ajata Satro. He has no enemies. And he's been forbearing. These are the qualities of devotees. This brings to mind one verse spoken by Lord Kapila to his mother, Devahuti. It's a famous verse that Srila Prabhupada would often quote. It's the same canto, but chapter 25, third canto, chapter 25, text 21. It goes like this: Tatikshava, Karunika, Surida, Sarvadehinam, Ajata, Satrava. See, this is the same word that's used in today's verse. Ajatra, Satrava, Shanta, Sarava, Sarubhushana. Translation: the symptoms of a sadhu are he is tolerant, merciful, friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He is peaceful. He abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. So, and in this purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada talks about the symptoms of the sadhu, the devotee. He travels all over the country from door to door preaching, be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling the animal propensities. Human life is meant for self-realization. And we see Srila Prabhupada, he imbibes all these wonderful qualities that Lord Kapila and is talking to his mother about, and that King Yudhisthira exemplified. Srila Prabhupada has the same caliber of these great Vaishnavas. Greatest preacher of our era, that's for sure. Ignited Krishna consciousness all over the world. So he's not satisfied with his own liberation. And then Prabhupada gives the examples of Lord Jesus Christ. He says sometimes devotees are attacked personally with violence. And he said, Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces. And Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant, Lord Nityananda, was violently attacked by Jagai Madai. So these are symptoms of the sadhu. They are very tolerant and not caring for themselves, simply caring for the suffering humanity. It's the same thing Prahlad Maharaj says when Lord Nrsingadev offered him benediction. He said, my dear Lord, I have no problems in life. He says, because whenever I chant your holy names, I'm immersed in such an ocean of nectar. I have no personal problems, but my only concern is for the suffering conditioned souls. He's always thinking about how to deliver them. So such wonderful qualities the pure devotees have. And so this is Ridora trying to impress upon his brother. You've put Yudhisthira and Queen Kunti and the Pandavas into such, you've made so many offenses, unbelievable, such faultless souls. How just for some material position, due to his son, Duryodhana and his other sons, Dushasan, their influence, the king's blind affection for his sons, causing him to commit so many grievous offenses. And here, Ridora is also reminding him about Bhima, who is very, very powerful. He has the strength of 10,000 elephants, son of the demigod Vayu, actually the brother of Hanuman. Hanuman's brother, Bhimasen. His name's Rikodar. Here, Ahi, revenging snake. Svasan, breathing heavily. Rusha, and anger. Surely you're afraid of him. But still, the covering of Maya and the uparads, Dhritarashtra, cannot take these words of wisdom to heart. And he continues on, as we know, the battle of Kurukshetra eventually was there. And Dhritarashtra and his godly wife, Gandhari, Queen Gandhari, they lost all their sons. And I think the warning there, Bhima, dear Govinda, did Bhima kill all the sons? I think Bhima killed all the 100 sons. Does anyone confirm that?
That sounds correct. I'm not so learned in Mahabharata, but
Okay.
that does sound correct.
I think so. So this warning was there. Ridora was trying to talk some sense into Dhritarashtra. But some, when you start to become covered with offenses, and then sometimes there's no turning back. And this is one of those instances where, despite good advice, Dhritarashtra could not take it. And then the next translation, again, Ridora saying, Lord Krishna, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's in charge of the whole universe. He's accepted the sons of Pritha, Kunti, as its kinsmen. And all the kings of the world are with Lord Shri Krishna. Lord Krishna lived in Dwarka, Lord Krishna, he had 16,108 wives. And he had 16,108 palaces. Such an opulent kingdom Dwarka is. And each wife of Lord Krishna had 10 sons. And each son had another 10 sons. So this is a Yadu dynasty, direct descendants of Lord Krishna. These were demigods coming to assist, demigods throughout the whole universe coming to assist in the Lord's pastimes, taking birth as Krishna's sons and Krishna's grandsons. So the Yadu dynasty numbered in the millions, 10 times 16,108, and then another 10 times it comes to, 1.6 million or something. So this is the Yadu dynasty, and very, very powerful. They were undefeated. They could not be defeated. And so King Dhritarashtra is again trying to impress this upon Dhritarashtra. They've conquered an unlimited number of rulers. And these Kunti is the daughter of Krishna's father, right? Vasudeva. Oh, let's see. No, sister, right? Krishna was the sister of Vasudeva. So they're cousins. The Pandavas and Lord Krishna are cousins. Queen Kunti is Krishna's aunt. So they're very intimately related, even in the material sense. So you cannot get away with Vaishnava aparad like this. Very, very severe. And we have to take this into account in our personal lives also. To always be on guard against committing Vaishnava aparad. Of course, we don't want to offend even an ant, even an insignificant bug, we don't want to cause inconvenience to. So what to speak of causing offenses to our fellow Vaishnavis, have to always be on guard. The first offense, isn't it, against chanting the holy name, is this mad elephant offense, to blaspheme the devotees. So, and just the opposite is there. Service to the devotees opens the door to liberation. This is what gives the Lord pleasure. Serving his devotees. Krishna says, one who says he's a devotee, my devotee, he's not my devotee. One who says he's a devotee of my devotee, that's my devotee. So always in the service mood. It's a service. Even Lord Balaram, starting with Lord Balaram, direct expansion of Krishna, all the way down, all the Vishnu tattvas even. We're just some insignificant jiva, infinitesimal. Our position is so tiny. But what to speak, Lord Balaram and all the Vishnu tattvas are in service mood to Lord Krishna and to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone wants to serve them. And this is where they get their pleasure from, this service attitude. So here in this world, Krishna is also showing us that when Krishna is born, Krishna says, yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhakti bharata. Whenever there's a decline in religious principles, he descends. That's a verse from the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shajamarham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in the religious practice, O the son of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. So Krishna came, 5,000 years ago, and he's God himself, but to show us the nature of this world. Krishna was born in prison, wasn't it? His mother and father had been imprisoned. So Krishna actually appeared in prison. And in materially awkward circumstances, right? His mother, Devaki, and father, Vasudeva, had been in prison. So this is, again, Krishna's indicating, don't expect this world to be very good situation for us. I'm even born in prison, he's saying. And his mother and father in prison. Imprisoned by who? Imprisoned by Devaki's brother, Kamsa. So these are the topsy-turvy relationships in material. Even one's brother, he was ready to kill his dear sister. But then he had a change of heart and then instead just put him in prison. So from the very beginning of the Lord's pastimes in this world, he's showing us the nature. He says in Bhagavad Gita, Dukkalayam ashasvatam. This world is Dukkalayam, full of miseries. Ashasvatam, temporary. Don't think we can be happy here in this world. We're here, again, just for the blink of an eye, and it's gone. So our only hope is to somehow come in touch, like we have been given the great fortune of coming in touch with the great pure devotee, the great general, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada. So our business is to every day try and fix ourselves firmly at his lotus feet, following his instructions. Always try to absorb ourselves, hearing and chanting, serving one another. Any comments or questions up to this point? Some of the atrocities have been mentioned to Dhritarashtra in the prior verses also, isn't it? They've been the house of black that they constructed to try to burn Queen Kunti and the Pandavas alive. That's one of Dhritarashtra's offenses. And there was Draupadi's in the Swayamvar, in the assembly. They were trying to disrobe Queen Draupadi. Though looking on, this is when the wonderful pastime, Krishna supplied the unlimited sari to protect Draupadi's honor. Then the gambling match was there, how they cheated the Pandavas out of their kingdom. So much the Pandavas tolerated, headed by Maharaj Yudhisthira. All the Pandavas would follow their elder brother Yudhisthira. Whatever he decided, they would respect that as a younger brother and future king of the world. Even though Bhima had a very hard time accepting Yudhisthira's advice, because he's the fiery Kshatriya. He wanted to kill Duryodhana early on. That's why it's mentioned here. He's breathing heavily, very angry. So he kept himself at bay on Yudhisthira's order. Can just imagine the anger of Bhima saying, like I say, Hanuman's brother. We know how powerful Hanuman was. So just imagine the anger and the Kshatriya blood running through Bhima's veins. So when he finally got the chance, he became death personified to Duryodhana's sons. So and Ridora is also had seen so many bad decisions by King Yudhisthira over the years leading up to this. And now Ridora, Krishna arranged in such a way that Duryodhana viciously, verbally attacked Ridora, his uncle, his faultless uncle. And he wanted to kill him, basically. So Ridora left. He left the kingdom. He was feeling relief. It was a good excuse that Krishna arranged for him to leave the kingdom. And he traveled. And here he's with the great sage Maitreya. They're discussing Krishna Katha. So such wonderful pastimes we're discussing now in this third chapter. So if there's any comments or questions, I can stop at this point.
Thank you, Teja Prakash Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
moved by your class. Something that especially touched me, and just you were describing about kind of the consciousness of Dhritarashtra. Of course, the Bhagavad Gita starts with the word Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra Vacha, and we've heard it so much. But what particularly moved me, the way you described, is not just he was very like political and confused and spiritually very misguided, and he committed oppression and like that, but that your description of Queen Kunti, Mother Draupadi, and the Yudhisthira, just like that, who he was offending, like they weren't ordinary people, they weren't even ordinary devotees, that that he was in his greed and lust and all of that he was really just committing so much violence and severe transgression against these like most wonderful souls. So how degraded, how harmful that is. Of course, ultimately, and after the battle, he did take the advice of Ridora and gave himself to a spiritual life. But I was just moved by your descriptions of the special, soft-hearted, devotional qualities of the Pandavas, and like that. So that touched me. Thanks for sharing.
Well, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, Dhritarashtra was ultimately achieved the impersonal, right, realization. Yeah. He became impersonal, realized, but unfortunately, we know what happens. Aroya Kachena Padam Padam Tada. They come back to the material world again because they have no information of Krishna's lotus feet. So he gets, and that's, it's, again, a devotee sees that as hellish, isn't it? Kaivalyam narakayate. That one of the symptoms when you get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabodhananda Saraswati said, Kaivalyam narakayate, that he sees impersonal liberation as hellish. There's no personal relationships. So yeah, that's Dhritarashtra achieved. And many of those that are killed by Krishna achieve this liberation, impersonal liberation. And we've been there before. We've been in impersonal Brahman before. But here we are again, isn't it? Trying to once and for all extricate ourselves completely from this material world, getting the real shelter at Lord Krishna's lotus feet. So we have great shelter, having Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet to pull us back to Krishna Lok. Yes, Malati. Malati had a question? No. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, it's hard to believe how one can be so blinded, commit such offenses, isn't it, against such faultless devotees. I guess that was Dhritarashtra's extended sense gratification, isn't it? My family, right? I want to enroll my personal offspring. They should be in charge. Of course, he had, I think in the beginning that Dhritarashtra was warned that, you should kill this first child of yours. He's going to create all kind of problems. I'm pretty sure that they had.
Yeah, it's a very interesting part, I guess, of the Mahabharata. In a sense, the Saint Vidura recommended abortion.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't go there a lot like that because like the embryo in the womb is a spirit soul like that. But Vidura had such clear vision that he could see this Duryodhana in the womb. Like this is bad news. So he did recommend that. So that's quite extreme, not something we want to follow or imitate. But it was seen that this is a very demoniac influence coming on.
Yeah, demigods also, when a demon, right? You say when you kill a demon or a snake, right? Like a scorpion or a snake, devotee is not saddened by that. And in the same way, when Prahlad Maharaj's mother was pregnant with Prahlad, right? The demigods didn't know. They were taking her to kill the child, right? Or they were going to kill the child. And then Narada Muni had come and said, no, this, you don't know, this is a Nityasiddha devotee. So don't disturb this, even though he's the son of Hiranyakasipu. He's faultless, so you don't need to worry about this. So, yeah, that's, thank you, Prabhu, for adding that.
Yeah, and of course, in this age, in following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we're not recommended to kill. We're recommended to endeavor to kill the darkness within, the demoniac mentality. So like Krishna's pastimes a few thousand years ago, there was a lot about killing demons, and then Lord Chaitanya was about let's transform the ungodly mentality to a truly godly consciousness. So that's our guidance in the current age.
Yeah, Lord Krishna didn't hold back, right? He was killing demons left and right by the millions, right? But Lord Chaitanya, like when Prabhupada gave the example, Jagai and Madai, so offensive to Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya had invoked the Sudarshan to kill, but then Lord Nityananda reminded, no, you've come in this age, in this incarnation to deliver. So, yeah, that's, we want to kill the demoniac spirit, right? Within and without, by this mantra, by this weapon, Hare Krishna mantra. What is it in this age, right? The demon is within also, right? We have the demoniac tendencies. So always disturbing us. So that's why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, our Param Guru, he said in the morning, what was it? Beat your mind with the shrews, and in the evening beat him with the broom, right? Something like that.
Yes.
So
100 times.
100 times. Okay. So we're beating by your morning classes, morning programs, this is how we're beating our minds in the morning. And similarly, we have to beat them at night by intensifying our hearing and chanting. Thank you for your Sangha, Prabhuji. Malini?
Yeah, I wanted to, like Vidura, he took a stand for what wasn't right around, and there was others who could also have taken a stand, like Bhishmadev come to mind, and there was others, like in a sense, pure devotees who could see through the truth. And so Vidura took a stand, and at the same time, the plan of the Lord was for the battlefield of Kurukshetra to be fought. So in a sense, Vidura's action were vowed to fail in his expression, because it wasn't the will of the Lord that Dhritarashtra will come back to his mind like he did later on. Like, oh yes, you're right, my brother, it doesn't make any sense, because there was a plan of the Lord in that whole picture. So I'm wondering, like, why is it that like our role is to be like Vidura and speak, even so the plan of the Lord is unfolding. And when is it that, in life, we are like Bhishmadev or other, Queen Kunti or others, and allow the plan of the Lord to unfold without saying anything.
Okay, I'm not sure what if I understand your question. What is the question exactly?
If we look at the example of, do you hear me? It's a question of a technology, or it's a question of my English?
No, I could hear you. I could hear you, but you're wondering why, like Bhishma and Dhritarashtra, it was all the Lord's plan, you're saying, right?
I'm saying like the Lord wanted the battlefield of Kurukshetra to happen.
Mhm.
And so, in a sense, Vidura came to speak with Dhritarashtra, and like his speaking the truth of what he could see was kind of against the plan of the Lord. Even so, the plan of the Lord wasn't known or effectively manifested. And there were others as pure as Vidura that could also have spoken, and we decided not to speak. So
Right.
I'm just looking in our own life, like, okay, Vidura spoke, but he's speaking because it wasn't aligned with the plan of the Lord, didn't have any effect beside him getting insulted and getting the chance to just go focus on Krishna, which he found was a blessing. And at the same time, others who decided not to speak, that they may have also an understanding of, the bigger picture, or like deciding like, oh, let's see how things unfold, and then not really intervening in things that they also knew were not appropriate in the treatment of the Pandava. So I'm just asking, like, how do we know, or how one knows when to be Vidura-like speaking, even so it's not going to do anything because there is the plan of the Lord, and when to not speak because, okay, let's see how the plan of the Lord is unfolding.
The world stands in no need of any reformer. Like where to be like Ridora, where to be like Bhishma Dev.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, I guess Ridora was, did Dhritarashtra called him, right? And asked him, I think.
That's right.
So he was, I guess they've been trying to advise him, Bhishma and Ridora, the whole time, right? His whole history there in Hastinapur, they were giving him good counsel, but he just wasn't taking it. Sometimes he'd have a change of heart, right? But it didn't last very long. Dhritarashtra. Sometimes it would sink in, but then again, he'd become covered over by, the constant badgering of his son Duryodhana, whom he was advised to get rid of in the beginning. So, ultimately the Lord's plan was to have the battle Kurukshetra, but still within that plan, everyone had their free will, right? Krishna knew what was going to happen, but Dhritarashtra, it didn't diminish his ability to use his free will and take the good advice. So as far as we have the fortune of having our fellow devotees to help us if we're in a dilemma, should I speak, should I not speak, or that's a sadhu shastra guru, right? We can refer to that all the time to help us if we're ever questioning like what to do in life, if we should speak up or say something or stay quiet. So we're not great realized souls like Bhishma Dev or Ridora in that, but we can rely on each other's, input to help guide us when we're, we have the stories also. We can ponder deeply within ourselves too. We're allowed to do that. There's one story, I think it was Paramahamsa Swami, Prabhupada devotee, Paramahamsa, before he took sannyas. I think it might have been him, but Srila Prabhupada said, you go and pray in front of Rupa Goswami's samadhi. You ask him, if you should take sannyas. And so Prabhupada said, you go and you pray and you get guidance within. So we have that. We have Krishna guiding in our heart, Srila Prabhupada guiding in our heart. And we have our fellow Vaishnavis who help guide us. So if we really ponder deeply sometimes, if we're really in a quandary, what we should do, that's Krishna will always guide us in the right way. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam, right? Out of those constantly devoted, I give understanding. Prabhupada gives a nice lecture in 1966. He's saying, so our business is to become Krishna conscious. And he's saying, and Krishna is within you. He'll tell you, do like this, do like that. And the path will be clear. And next life, back to home, back to Godhead. So Krishna is ready to guide us. And we just have to sometimes, ponder deeply and ask for help.
Thank you, Teja Prakash Prabhu.
No, thank you.
Very fulfilling to hear.
Good to see you. And we got a new devotee there, Bhakta Nico, yeah? How are you doing? How are you, Nico? Hare Krishna, good to meet you.
Hare Krishna, nice to meet you.
Where are you from?
I'm from Florida.
Oh, okay, nice. You enjoying your stay with Dear Govinda Prabhu?
Yes, it's very, very fulfilling and purifying.
We're doing well as housemates together so far.
That's good. Good to see you, Prabhu. Damayanti, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Everybody staying healthy. Crazy times in the world, yes. We have Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet to always take shelter of. Jai Gajendraji, Haribol Prabhu. Anything else, Prabhus? Okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila
Jai,
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.